So now that we have added new blocks, let's look at the code generation. The code generation also has to be changed, right? But it doesn't change that much. We simply changed the way that our block is defined. So we now have to change the way that our code is generated. And again, we're defining the code generator in our generator TS. We have this scrub method. We didn't change that. We just kept that. We still use this pseudocode generator, so everything stayed the same. And then we have this greetings external. Now that changed, right? Because we're now generating code for greeting external, not for greeting block. And the way we're going to do this is we're simply telling dear generator, take this value that is attached here to this current block that we're generating code for, which is a greeting external block. The value is called times, and we want to generate code for that. And we're just telling here this operator precedence, which rank the operators have. So we're simply saying 0, which means it doesn't introduce any parentheses in the code generation. Then we're getting the code for the subject. And then if we have both, if we are missing the times, then we're going to say, oh, there's missing input for times. If we don't have the subject code, we're saying, well, there's missing input for subject, and we already saw those error messages. And then otherwise, we're just going to print this repeat number of times. So we're just taking the code that was generated for the block that we attached for times, and we're pasting it here. Yeah, so that's basically how we generate the code for our new greetings block. But now we added new blocks. We added this text and the math number block. Now for those, we also have to generate code. And the way we generate code for this is by simply looking at their definitions. So we also need to say we want to, for a math number, we want to generate code. For a text block, we want to generate code. They all have the same kind of signatures here. And then we're simply asking the block to get the field value text. So how do we know that there's a field value text or there's a field value num? We could have inspected it right in this block playground. So here, that's our number block, our math number, and then there's a field num, right? So that's how we know what field values it has. Let's maybe let's keep that. And for, where is it, text? If we generate the JSON code again, then we see here, where's our text? There's our text, and has text as the field name. So that's what we're accessing here. And then we're simply returning this as the code, right? So those are quite straightforward, how we generate code for a number block and a text block. And then the way we're wiring it in is, again, the same way as before, right? We're importing our generator here into this main TS. We are getting our code output and our error output diffs from our index, which was here, code output, error output. And then we're just going to have this generate code again, as in the previous one, right? We're just, again, generating code for the whole workspace with our new pseudocode generator. But right now, it fails to generate code, right? Because we had this strange arithmetic thing there. So yeah, what do we do? How do we actually fix that? We could define new code for block. Now let's see which block that is. We set this math arithmetic block. Let's see what name that had. Math arithmetic. So for the math arithmetic block. And then we know that this has multiple fields, right? This doesn't just have, it has inputs. So we need to generate code for this input A and this input B, and then there's the field up. So the fields up. And then, well, how do we get code for inputs? That's basically up here, but now the first one was basically called A, and then this was the block A. Now we don't have a generator. That's not good. Instead of the, like, in addition to the block, we also want the generator. So let's ask tell the API we also want the generator. And then, of course, we want this also to be done for B. And then while we're right now, if we do that, then text value, maybe let's call it operator, right? Maybe that's a better one. Yeah, and then we could basically do something very simple. We can do A, then we basically print our operator, and then we do B, and then we are done. Now let's see what happens if we generate code for this arithmetic thing in our application. Maybe let's just generate code for it itself. It says add, it says multiply 0 by 0, and then we can drag this whole thing in here. We're missing a subject. So then we have, say, sometimes something times hello world, right? Now, is that nice? I'm not sure. We have this multiply in here. There's actually maybe some tricks that we could do, right? We could maybe say, well, instead of this multiply, we can interpret this multiply directly inside the code generator. Here, it's basically put into the pseudocode, but we could maybe do it here. Can we do that? That's a bit tricky. We would have to convert the constants here to numbers, and now they're strings. And then we would basically have to do probably a switch case over the different field values. So let's try that. We would have to convert these ones into numbers, right? Let's check if that works. We can call the number constructor on this one. Number, of course, and number here. Now A and B should hopefully be numbers. And then we would do a switch on operator, and if it's add, then we would return. Let's see, we're not really returning this. We want to evaluate that, right? So this suggestion, yeah, maybe good, but not yet what we need. Let's see, we have basically this const, and that's like, let's call it maybe times, and let's initialize that with 0, and that should be a number, of course. I'm just adding the types because I like it some more with types, so let's make also those two numbers, and then if we have add, we're going to say times is simply A plus B, right? And then we should, as any good value, and that shouldn't be a const. That should be a let, probably, because we want to assign it later, right? Then there's minus, there's multiply, there's maybe divide, need more. Okay, let's keep it like that. And then instead of returning this one, we're basically now returning our times, right? So we're basically resolving the value of arithmetic by computing it in the code generator. Let's see if that even works, right? Would be nice if that worked. So let's do it for the arithmetic. We have 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 times 0. So let's do 5 times 5, 25. That looks good. So now we can basically put the arithmetic inside here and have it calculated. This is also called constant folding, because we're basically multiplying and or basically removing constants as much as we can. Now what happens if we divide by 0? We get infinity. That's just how JavaScript does it. If we put something else here, it doesn't allow us because this only accepts numbers. And we can probably also nest arithmetic, right? We could have maybe some infinity and times by 0. And yeah, we can't really evaluate that, right? It's let's do 1 here and times it by 0, then it works, or by 4, then we should have 20. Yeah. Okay, so now we extended our code generator to even do some constant folding, some optimization, because then the pseudocode language doesn't have to do it, or the target code generation language doesn't have to do it. We basically do it in the code generator, but it makes, of course, the code generator more complicated, right? Before that, we just had this line return this A operator B. This way, the performance of the generated code is probably better, but the code generator gets a bit more complicated.